In Europe, there are three main, or should I say larger, language families, so I don't offend too many people. There are the Latin or Romance languages, Germanic languages, and then there are Slavic languages. But have you ever wondered why Slavic languages are so similar to each other? I mean, of course, all the language families share some similarities. Slavic languages are a lot more similar to each other than German is to English or Italian is to French, for example. Before we head into why they are so similar to each other, let's take a look at a few examples so you won't think I'm full of shit. Let's first check how to say in Slavic languages things such as I am, you are, and we are. So in Slavic languages, I am, you can say ja sam, ja sem, jestem, things like that. So you can see very similar. If we head into you are, you can see ti si, ti, again, very similar. If we head into the we are, we can also see mi, mi sme, mi smo, nisme, again, very similar. Now let's choose random words for, let's say, objects, emotions, and characteristics, activities. For word bread, in Slavic language, we would use like kruh. In Slovenia or Croatia, we would say hleb, klip. In Russia, Ukraine, and other countries. Beer, for example, pretty much the same in every country except for Bulgarians, they wanted to be a little bit special, bira, otherwise you use pivo. For word knife, we would say in every Slavic language almost the same. We would use nóż, nož, nož. Now if we went into the, how do you say good in Slavic languages, you would use dobro, dobri, pretty much that. Only Russians would use hršo. Also very similar. Evil, for example, you would say zlo, zli, zle. Again, very similar. Work, you would say работать, работа, raditi, pracovat. Only Slovenians decided they want to be different, like delati. Although I always thought that Russians say делati. That's actually not even similar, never mind. For example, talk, you would say pričati, mluviti, razgovarjati, pogovarjati, govoriti, hovorit. So again, the root of the word is basically the same in most of those languages. Also, cheers, for example, sounds very similar in all the Slavic languages, so pivo and na zdrovje would be very useful when in Slavic countries. So for example, you would say na zdrovje, živeli, na zdravje. Again, very similar. And there are a ton of other words that either sound exactly the same or similar in those Slavic languages. Now obviously those languages aren't the same, but they're really similar to each other, especially based on geographical position. Southern Slavic, for example, sounds more the same than West and East Slavs do. But although those people share many distances between each other, they still sound more of the same, especially to the people that isn't familiar with Slavic languages. Now why the f*** is that so? Germans don't really sound like Brits, do they?
Nein, 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 nein!
No, not really. So let's finally get to the question, why? Well, first reason would be time. Germanic languages began diverging significantly after 1000 BC. By the time of the Roman Empire, the Germanic languages had already split into two branches, East and West. Following that, they split into 4 additional groups, and there you go. While Slavic languages didn't diverge into different sub-branches until 900 to 1000 AD. It's believed that Proto-Slavic language had been spoken from 500 to 1000 AD. So that's the first reason. Second one, geography. Mountains and geographic barriers tend to decrease mutual intelligibly. For example, Polish and Slovak are mutually more intelligible than Polish and Czech, which is still highly mutually intelligible with Slovak. There is a mountain range dividing Poland from the Czech Republic. Because of Eastern Europe is easily accessible, it worked in the favor of Slavic languages having contact with one another for a long time, really until Uralic people and Germanic people settled between many of the Slavic in the medieval era. Now, although those different Slavic languages developed over 1000 instead of 3000 years, they are in fact very complex, with not only singular and plural but also dual nouns, complex grammar and other interesting shit such as words that you won't be able to pronounce.
Name und Vorname?
Grzegorz Brzęczyszczykiewicz. Brzęczyszczykiewicz. Grzegorz.
Slavic languages really make a challenge for everyone to learn, but don't worry, once you learn Slavic, you'll love it. You know what they say, once you go Slavic, you never go back. Nobody really says that, but considering how many hours you'll spend learning those amazingly hard languages, you surely won't have a choice to go back. This is the end. If you haven't yet, a reminder, subscribe, like and all that YouTube stuff people say at the end. I want to thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it and perhaps learned a thing or two. Na svidenje! Germanic languages began diverging significantly. Germanic language... Ma petu kurac.